Yo, this week on the Gen Z Manifesto mazee tunapiga story ya the youth agenda in the Kenya Kwanza Manifesto mazee.
Wali promise vitu mingi majibu.
Bana, from sports and creative enterprises to story ingine ya 50 billion. Ngoja, 50 billion kila mwaka mazee kwa SMEs, akisema zina crucial from Sherlock's in the end zinafaa ku create millions of jobs kama youth man.
So hizi promises zote so far gani iko fulfilled? Hii manifesto so far is it a hit or a miss? Gava inafanya kitu ama form ni kuban?
Hiyo yote ni Tuesday on K24 and Kameme TV from 7:30 to 9 p.m.
Get ready.
I'm ready for Tuesday. Very ready for Tuesday.
Kwa taarifa tendeti na za kuaminika na matukio ya moja kwa moja kadri yanavyochipuka, jiunge nasi kwenye mchipuko wa K24 kila siku ya wiki saa 5 hadi saa 7. Jina langu ni Busara na Aman.
Mchipuko, weekdays 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. K24. It's what's on.
Nite Majibu Kisao, MK, Top 40 Under 40, Super TV producer na super host for the biggest show in East and Central Africa, the Gen Z Manifesto, every Tuesday from 7:30 to 9 p.m. Tunabonga stories za vijana mazee, maboys Gen Z walishia kwa streets, waka highlight vitu kadhaa, na kwa hii show tunaandika manifesto ya Gen Z before 2027. Utakosaje?
K24. It's what's on.
The next one, my goodness. Ukiwa na Go TV Lite, lipia Go TV Value to upgrade to Go TV Plus.
Oh, it's so cool.
But a big value, big entertainment.
Really clever play.
Perfect! Banda tukupandishe kupata even more with Go TV.
Pure serendipity.
Upgrade today on the My Go TV app.
The following program is rated PG. Parental guidance is advised for younger viewers.
Previously on the Gen Z Manifesto.
The issue to do with the old funding model and the new funding model is just comparing equity and equality.
Angalia hivi, kuna wale wazazi ambao wako na kazi, mama na baba, lakini watoto wao ni 13. Kuna yule mzazi ambaye hajiwezi, ako na mtoto mmoja.
Wengi wanafunzi waliweza ku drop out na si wachache, wengi sana. Hadi kwa sasa ukitembea kwa hizo streets za UN utaona ni kama golf, maana kuna many students ambao wamereport.
What is the relevance of the committee if it is not going to be listened? I think the committee should be disbanded.
For this government, especially when it comes to the education sector, they always have a way of finding trouble, diagnosing it incorrectly, and even applying the wrong remedies.
It's a fact that our students are suffering, and it's a fact that help delays, and it's a fact that there's a mess in this education sector, from the ministry to the government itself.
Kama kawaida, form ni kuongea ikutoke. Good evening and welcome back to yet another Tuesday of the Gen Z Manifesto. Kama kawaida, hapa form ni kuongea ikutoke. Dare I say that this is the one and only purely Gen Z driven show in the country that gives you, the young people, a space on national TV to voice your opinions, to be truthful, to be authentic, to practice your right to free speech. This is your home, beloved, so you better get comfortable, okay? Hiya, so today we are asking you guys one simple question. Gava inadeliver ama inabant. You see, walituchorea a glittering manifesto before they got to power. Now we just want to follow up, yeah? Is the manifestoing, specifically when it comes to the youth agenda? Are the jobs they promised reaching the youth? Are they allocating money to empower the youth in entrepreneurship as they said? Are TVETs being empowered? Content creators in the house, ile pesa ya Facebook imeingia as promised ama ilikuwa story ya Java? We will discuss all of that hapa studio, kwa ground pia pale na majibu, and also at home. Please indulge us. Tell us your opinions. Gava inadeliver ama inabant? Linda, unaonaje hii story?
You know, you've said they had a glittering
manifesto. I'm telling you.
And you know, it's not the same thing when you allocate funds to different sectors of the economy, and ensuring that these projects come to fruition. And it's another thing to give us a long list of manifesto that are your own priorities. Are they Kenyans' priorities? Are these considered as priorities by Kenyans? Well, that is the discussion that we'll be having today. And remember, this squad of mine right here, the panelists right here, others have traveled all the way from Narok to be part of this conversation today. How about that?
Yes.
So we have a great team today.
A show for the Gen Z by the Gen Z. I love it for us. Kagina, semaje?
Well, talk of delivering, I've spent the better part of the week in Nikiwatch the interviews that are ongoing to fill the vacant spaces at IEBC. And it reminded me of a choir yenye ilikuwa inaimba pale Bomas of Kenya when Chebukati was announcing the result.
We remember that.
So I wondered, while we feel IBC, are we also filling spaces in that choir? But back to the conversation of delivering today, we'll be keeping stock of how the government has been able to achieve at least almost mid-term. Yeah.
All right, umesema hapo midterm 2.5. Maybe we are being too hard on them huku kwa ground. We are going to know, okay? Majibu kwa ground. Sio kama ako ready for us. Majibu.
Yes, Miss K bana, very ready for Tuesday. Very ready for Tuesday bana. Mwambia watu, Tuesdays hakuna kitu ingine wanaendelea hii town. Ni the show number 1 in East and Central Africa, the GenZManifesto. Tunaandika manifesto chapter by chapter. Mazena leo vile umesema Miss K ni the youth agenda in the KK government mazee. Wale promise vitu mingi sana, from hizo 50 billion za SMEs kila mwaka, story unemployment sana sana kwa youth man, na pia mazee monetization ya online content. Leo ma TikTokers watuambie mazee, before mwende live mtuambie kwanza kama umeanza kupata dollars ama bado. So mpenzi mtazamaji, apart from hiyo kikosi yenye iko studio ikiongozwa na mabibi na bwana Kagina hapa ground mazee, hata usiogope, nitakuwa napata majibu ya majenzi wenyewe. Niko nao wengi kabisa, niko na mababy girl, niko na maboys wamekuja mazee, wataniambia ukweli. Hiyo manifesto ya my youth ya Kenya Kwanza government, sasa tuko wapi 2.5 years down the line mazee?
Lovely since majibu. Majibu amesema Gen Zs watampea majibu. Jieni majibu. Get it? No? Okay, we move on. Anyway, let's hear from our guy Kagina with the stats.
If you don't get it, forget about
it.
All right, so looking at the government, UDA campaign ilianza na 6 promises, of which zilikuwa zina touch on health, education, social welfare, agriculture, manufacturing and governance. Tungependa sana kufocus na what was set out specifically for the youth. However, the youth are 70% of this country, and so pretty much of everything touches on them. But however, kwa hizo category sita nimetaja, we picked up a few things that touch on different categories, especially the Gen Z that we have, just to look at how the government has performed so far. So kuna issue ya Hustler Fund, wakasema they will be setting apart about 50 billion annually to enable the youth kujismamia. So on that, we have loans that have been given, yes, but we've also had a number of challenges, including the Auditor General's report that raised queries on some people who are yet to be born, yet they've received Hustler Fund. So on that, we'll categorize it as partially fulfilled, as it is not fully streamlined. kuna the issue of return to school policy. Hawa ni wale sasa younger Gen Z bordering Gen Alpha, which was supposed to allow for ladies that, or rather the teenagers who get pregnant while in school and happen to drop out, to enable them to return to school properly and resume their education as the rest. So for that, it is also not fully implemented. So on that also falls on the category of partially achieved. We have Kazi Mtaani, which falls under the area where the youth are supposed to be given employment, about 1 million of them, some locally, some abroad. We appreciate what the government has done so far, because tuko na wanaitwa nani hao watu? We have this, we have the ones that are doing the climate works, where we have the youths who are assigned to cleaning the rivers and the environment technically. So that plays part in it. We also have a number of them who've also traveled Kazi Maju. Na tumekuwa na concerns with the same. It has not been a very seamless one. We at least have numbers of youths remaining to be jobless. So on that, tutasema bado partially achieved. We also, that we have also touched on. Kuna wale zile kazi tulipewa za kufinya keyboard, madola zinaanguka. Most of us are yet to experience that. However, hizo ni zile government would say they have partially achieved. So we picked 4. We also have a category of items that we'd say the government has a lot to do, because hapa wamebant. Kuna the issue of lowering the cost of living. In as much as Gava inasema inflation imeshuka by around 4-5%, Kenyans are still feeling the pinch. Na more especially Gen Z. Tumekuwa hapa tukiuliza wasee wana survive na hii economy. Hustle yao inajipa kweli. And most of them have been complaining. So hapa tutasema Gava imebant. We have the free NHIF coverage. Hii ilikuwa hakuna kulipwa kitu. Evolved to SHA, where now people have to pay a certain amount depending on how much they earn. And eventually we got to a point yenye tunaulizana kama, is SHA really working? So raising the questions of kama kila kitu iko sawa hapo. Generally the feel Gava hapo imeband. Na kuna hii issue ingine ya gender balance, where we expected, you know, ile affirmative action. We have a balance of everyone in cabinet. Clearly, his first cabinet as of December ilikuwa na 7 ladies out of 20. So hiyo haikuwa achieved completely. So looking at this, because we can't really quantify, this is not a scientific research. Based on the 7 items that we have sampled, 3 wamebant, 4 they have partially achieved. So that leaves us with around 50% that we are negotiating kama wamemake ama wajamake. However, because it is partially achieved, then we settle on a number which is around 29% out of the 100% midterm. So kwa wale walitumia 844 before CBC kuje, hii ilikuwa ni grade inaitwa D. Yani inamaanisha umebant. Back to you, Miss Kahiro.
We, Kagina with the stats. Umesema tumepatia Gavadi for now. I don't know about that. Tutasikia pia from Linda's side, wao wanasema aje, has the government bunted, if that's what we are asking today. Also, you know, you left me hapo kwa the unborn people wameallocatiwa funds, Kagina? Na hawajazaliwa? Are we living in a circus? Is this truly the country we want? I feel like we should go to Majibu kwa ground tusikie watu wanasema nini huko. Majibu, are you ready for us?
Very ready. Yes, Gava inadeliver ama inabant ndio convo leo. Unajua before Prezo aanze kusema nimetenga hii na hii, ilikuwa time ya campaigns mazee alisema nitafanya hivi, nitapanga hivi. Acha nisema Gen Z leo tukibonga story kuhusu na youth, hiyo youth agenda in the Kenya Kwanza government. Nianza na nani? Chanza na Bigal leo. Tuanze na story ya employment na cost of living, zinaendana hizo mbili. Kwanza nikikumbuka vizuri, Prezo alisema kwanza serikali yake haitakuwa ya create positions to the elite. Hapo amedeliver ama ameband?
Hapo let me tell you something. Nita mix, eh? Okay. Nita mix both Kiswahili and English.
Haina pressure.
Yeah. First of all, I'm Margaret Maina, an activist of this country. And I think preso to inabant. Every single day inabant. Number one, actually, let me talk about freelance, because I'm actually directly nimehitiwa na hiyo mambo ya freelance. He said about taxation. Kuna mtu alisema mambo ya remote task in the beginning, and he said that that was a very nice idea for the youths. Na alikuwa naona that watu watashika hiyo freelance, especially for the youths, because I can remember in his manifesto, alikuwa napeana speech here that he's going to make sure that the youths, all the youths, are going to have a good living through his manifesto. I'm still wondering, because freelance ameongeza mambo ya taxation, anaona cost of living, it's very high for the youths. Sai actually mtu ana survive hii tao. Very few people are surviving in it. You can remember even story ya river, Nairobi River. We were supposed to clean Nairobi River for 500 a day. Actually alikuwa amesema tuwe tunaenda interchange for the morning and during the night. Ndo kila mtu anapata dhao. That is 7,000. Nothing has been done, and the worst thing of it is demolishing people's houses.
Yeah. Acha nakuja hapo. Acha nibonge na Bazenga kidogo niambie pia kwa issue ya nakuja kwako tu sasa kuja hapa. Kuja hapa boys. Changamka mzee. Kwa issue ya employment na cost of living. Hiyo kusema Gava haita create positions to the elite. Hapo amedeliver ama amebant? According to you.
Amebant baya sana. Kwa sababu nikianzia nayo hapo kwa creating of opportunities kwa elite, hapo ndio ameconsider energy sana. Tukiangalia mpaka appointments za huko IBC tunaona ni watu who knows who. Hiyo ni makazi za simu zinapangwa. Nikuja hapo tena kwa manifesto yake alisema SMEs watu wa chini watakopa loan na wataendeleza up to date. Hakuna mtu tunashaisikia amepewa certain amount of loan na amejiendeleza.
Ngoja. Hapo kwa loan alisema ata empower SMEs 50 billion kila mwaka. Ikakuja ikatani historia ya nini? Ilikuwa inaitwaje hii stuff ya nini?
Nini? Oh, the Hustler Fund.
Yes, story ya Hustler Fund. Wasao walikuwa nakopa do. Hata sasa watu wanakopa do bado still limit zinaenda zikipanda. Unasemaje hapo alichoma?
Hapo alichoma sababu hii Kenya for an SME inadangana kiwango. Unapata sasa alianzia na 500. Na kuna busy mtu anataka 10,000. So kama ni mtu alikuwa serious na transformation, unapata angekuwa na state agents. State agents tungekuwa tunaona wanatembea hii nchi. Wakikuuliza hii biashara yako tunaona imekwama madam. Youthman tunaona hii biashara yako imekwama. So anakuuliza, but sasa si yote kwa simu, kila mtu alikuwa kwa level ya 500.
Acha nikuje kwako. Kuna pia story ya ajira digital program. Walisema kuja hapa Maiji, walisema since 2022 over 150,000 youths have been trained mazee. Unasemaje mayouth wametengwa on that?
Asante sana. Kwanza kwa majina naitwa Valdano Vincent Kimori na I am coming from Westlands. Na akisema mayouths 150,000 walikuwa employed. Mayouths wenyewe wako wapi? Ndio hawa wako hapa. These are the youths that were supposed to be employed. And employment as an aspect inakuwa ni very much and very critical aspect in this generation right now. Saizi hawa mayouths walikuwa wanafaa kupatiwa basic information kuhusu vile watafanya nini, watapata vile watajiajiri wao wenyewe, wakupatiwe loans, wapatiwe vile njia ambazo zitawasaidia ku raise capitals for them to be able to do what. Most of them ni content creators. Unapata wanapatiwa 3% taxation kwa hiyo content creation. Hiyo content creation mtu anataxiwa that much but he is not able to do what.
Na kuja hapa content creation kidogo tu, director anasema ni bonge na madem. Kuja hapa baby girl. Jina lako nani, alafu hiyo unaambie hiyo program zote za Gava from empowerment ya SMEs 50 billion kila mwaka ikuja ikatani story Hustler Fund na pia hiyo ajira digital program. Kwanza mnajengewa study kwa talent kuja hapo. Mnasemaje Gava inabant bado ama inadeliver?
Siombo Dorcas, an activist, na wa Gava inabant tu sana. Juu ajira digital program, I think zimekuwa, it's not there, it's not working the same way tuliona kwa manifesto ikiongelelewa wakisemati itakuwa hivi na hivi. No, it's not there, and then it's only for the few wenye wanachaguliwa. You know, you have a grandpa kwa government, huyo ndo anakusaidia. Nyinyi wengine wenye hamjuani na watu mnabant tu pamoja na Gava, like it's not.
Nikikuja kwa story ya monetization ya online content, TikToker, kwanza unakaa kwa TikTok, tunapatia handle yako after hapa. Umeanza kulipwa?
And again, hata unapata most of the accounts is nabani watu bure. You don't know why, but for no reason your account is being banned, and unakosa hata hiyo, unaanza tena ku create followers from the start. It's not easy. Anatupea tu a hard time, a difficult time. Juu to pay job, the only thing that you can do content creation, ndo hiyo pia anakutoa like.
We, mnabaniwa jio content mnaposti bana. Mnaendanga live masaa usiku mnafanya vitu zenu.
Nikiongezea kwa hiyo nini content creation, unapata kitu kama TikTok yenyewe imecapture a lot of youth na wengi wanajijenga. So unapata huyu minister alichaguliwa wa ICT ni mzae. Anafaa kuongelea the version ya TikTok kama hapa kama ile iko US, TikTok shop. Unaona? Hizo vitu tunafaa kuwa tunaona. Si kuwa company president kwa msafara ya siasa. The version of TikTok yenye iko Kenya si yenye iko US. So it's for this ICT cabinet secretary, if he is more creative enough, alete a better version of us. Hizo vitu nafaa kuwa na lobby. Unaona? Basa tunapata wao ni siasa, kila saa ni siasa. Na I see minister mwenyewe nikaa ajui.
Wacha nikuje kwa Baby Girl hapa. Kuna hiyo story ya ku empower creative economy, kuna story ya Talanta Hela, kuna Talanta Stadium inajengwa. Mnasemaje hiyo story yote?
Okay, I'm Sylvia Ngwae. I'm a psychologist, unemployed. So, hizo vitu mimi sijaziona as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, I've not seen them. Na Gava imebanned.
Hata story ya Ajira Digital Program, haujui hata boys wako mwenye ushaisikia ishemwakia hiyo staff. Wanasema you want 50,000 youths since 2022. Hakuna hata mmoja mwenye unajua.
Mimi hakuna youth mwenye najua mwenye ame benefit from Ajira. Personally, even I don't know how that thing works. It's not working literally.
Aya kuja tuambie.
In this country, it's know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. If you don't know anybody in this country, hawezi survive. Na imekuwa so hard for every youth who doesn't know anybody in this Nairobi, which is very unfair. I think it's very unfair.
Kumekuwa na story pia ya Gava ku empower my youth through TVETs. Wamesema walitenga 27 billion kwa the 2024-2025 financial year. Still, do you think imedeliver promise yake ama bado hapo kuna gap?
Wanaendelea tu kutenga.
Wanatenga. Maiji.
Kuna gap kubwa sana sababu ukiangalia kwa hizo TVET, the funding model yenyewe imechange. Ukiapply for funding model, unaulizwa kwanza mko na TV. Siji babaka wako na ng'ombe. Sasa unapata hizo vitu mingi. Yaani inakuwa a lot of bureaucracy. Inafaa kuwa TVET kama ni Gava ni ya Gava ni ya G. Kitu ikuwe clear. Si tena nikienda pale ni makaratasi na kama sijuani na MCA karatasi yangu inawekwa chini. So ile political goodwill ndio Kenya haina. Ndio tukasema as a Gen Z, we were yearning for a revolution. Kitu inakuja instant. Si story, ni kitu inakuja instant. Unaona? Not a lot of bureaucracy.
Na mbona nafaa kurudisha studio sahi. But briefly tu, unajua saa tuweze lalamika bila kupeana at least. Sawa basi muambie wanafaa kufanya nini briefly. Sana kwa issue ya unemployment because hiyo ndio ina affect my youth wengi sana. Naanza nawe Bazenga.
Saizi kitu yenye the most important thing that is supposed to be done right now is to have good governance. When we have good governance, I think itaweza kusaidia watu wajue that sisi kama mayouth ni kitu fulani tunataka. Na ile kitu tunataka ni integrity. Hakuna kitu kingine yenye sisi tunahitaji. Kwa sababu hiyo integrity ndio itatusaidia sisi tukienda kwa public offices, tutapata zile services zenye tunafanya nini? Tunahitaji kama mayouth. So most of these things are being done just because kuna tribalism na corruption.
Perfect. Baby Girl, kidogo tu abonge pia yeye
I think again.
Kuja hapa tukuone. Chifa anapiga simu akuone.
Kenya wanafaa kufanya again, wanafaa kukua fair in the distribution of job opportunities. Si ati unapea mtu wako mwenye unamjua. No, you should be fair in distribution of the jobs. Yeah.
So briefly pia boys alafu maliza na Baby Girl hapa.
Sawa. So kwa hapa kwa creating of employment, kitu ya kwanza ni goodwill ya political goodwill na tuoni. In this country kuna bill ilipasiwa ya nini? Labor Act. Minimum wage Kenya haijakuwa implemented. Na tukiingia kwa social media tunaona wenye wamekalia hizo viti wanapiga maselfie wanatutumia. Hiyo ni kusema ni kama tutatupikia. It is very sad kuona wa Kenya we as youth tuna border planes to go to a Wharton country for 20,000. Ilhali Labor Act imesema minimum wage ya Mkenya inafaa kuwa 30,000. Unaona? So na sisi tunaingia ndege. Sasa ukienda pa JKI utalia machozi. Kuona wasichana wanafly kwenda war on country kama Lebanon kufanyia kazi 20,000. Ili hali hiyo tu anafaa kulipo 30,000 hata hapa. Afurahia hapa.
Perfect. Before nirudishe studio, 1 minute.
Majibu, we are full of opportunities in this country, and what the president needs to stop right now is making promises. I think he's given us a lot of promises. Hata si wenyewe hatujui ni promise gani amefulfill. There is nothing that to show about his promises. About monetization, it's where the youths are. Please, just put it as zero taxation. Wacha kutaksawa watu. You are taxing somebody who just got into Facebook because there is monetization. How do you really expect that person to earn a living through 3% taxation? Please, I think we need to stop those promises right now.
Aya, na mbona nafaa kurudisha mazee. We, majenzi wamebonga. Bwana nataka kuendelea kubonga lakini time inaturuhusu. Tunaenda mapumzikoni kidogo tu, lakini tukirudi mimi nitakuwa nishasonga. Convo inaendelea studio, Miss K, Kagina na Linda na majenzi wengi sana kwa studio pia wao watakuwa wanaeleza convo kuhusiana na the youth agenda in the Kenya Kwanza government. Toka ground, majibu shakafunga, majenzi washaongea na ikawatoka.
Agriculture is the engine of economic growth in Kenya. It is the largest contributor to Kenya's GDP. Farming, if well practiced, is a profitable venture. Kilimo na Biashara is a show that seeks to help Kenyan farmers adopt modern farming practices to grow their agribusiness. Join Linda Koskei every Sunday at 1:30 p.m. and 6:30 p.m. as she delves into the best farming techniques
Nite Majibu Kisao, MK, Top 40 Under 40, Super TV producer na super host wa the biggest show in East and Central Africa, the GenZManifesto, every Tuesday from 7:30 to 9 p.m. Tunabonga stories za vijana mazee, maboys majenzi walishia kwa streets, waka highlight vitu kadhaa, na kwa hii show tunaandika manifesto ya majenzi before 2027. Utakosaje?
K24, it's what's on.
Yeah, they call me Tony Murigi, aka the celebrities host. Kama ni tamu na lama na kama ni chungu na tema, catch me live every Monday to Friday in the morning on Interactive Show for a fun-filled conversation, trending topics, celebrity interviews, music, and certified gossip. See you.
K24. It's what's on.
And welcome back. This is the Gen Z Manifesto. Our core business here ni kuongea itutoke. Na leo, in the words of Simple Boy, Stevo, Simple Boy, leo ni kumoto manzi. Na kuambia we are just asking one simple question. Gava inadeliver ama inabant? Before we went on break, Majibu alikuwa na core injector pale alisema ICT wameka mzai. Like, guys, tumetoka from being tribalistic, now we are doing ageism. Is that what we are doing here, guys? Well, that was feedback from our guy Majibu kwa ground. Let's hear some feedback from you at home. Aha, let's see. Timothy Monk House anasema alibant on August 2022. Yani alibant the minute we wacha Timo. Actress Sue anasema he alibant kitambo. Hey, guys, it's just 2.5 years. We are 2.5 years in, yeah? Some grace maybe? No? Okay. Trevor Kimutai anasema government is not delivering, but rather destroying our lovely country, Kenya. KK is now planning new ways of killing ODM fast, and Kenyans have been left aside. Killing. Is that a strong word, sir? I don't know. Obed or Samuel anasema everything goes to south inabant. Hey. Opama Savior anasema kudeliver nini? Ya hata nashanga tunaongelelea nini exactly. Calvin anasema ilibant siku ya swearing in. Guys, some grace, no? Honest Star KE. Kwani kuna Gava? Who is ruling us? Who is the president? Who is President Ruto? If hakuna Gava, I don't know. Emmanuel Kosgei anasema he's from Bomet. Gava inabant vibaya sana. Just take a look. Greetings. Following the lapse of the 7-day notice, HELB is proceeding to engage your guarantors for the loan recovery. I guess this is his message from HELB. Kwanza, last time we were talking about HELB. Linda, leo tunauliza watu hapa kwa studio because we have students here. HELB ilingia kweli? Kagena, we are going to follow up that real quick. Anonymous hapa anasema Gava inabant with their kutenga chorus while our kids are really suffering in schools now. Mr. President continues donating millions to churches every Sunday. Shame on you, Mr. President. Nimjalua Bungoma watching from Konambaya, Bungoma. Kids, you're saying kids are suffering in school. Si wamepatiwa like 1 million chapatis in school, guys. Like some grace. Kagina, I want to hear from your panelists. Anasemaje story?
Unajua gratitude ni kitu ya muhimu sana. Mtu kupea chapo 1 million afu unauliza kana.
Sema thanks.
Tukue serious. Well, on this end of the panel, I'm joined by interesting guests. So we have James Mulamba. Yeye ni activist, Gen Z activist. Atatuambia ana activate nini? What is he activating? What? Pushing for na ni nini anakataa. Atatuambia saizi. And we also have Sophie Nje here, upcoming leader. She says atatuambia ana upcome kwa nini. But starting from James. Gava inadeliver ama imeband?
Ilisha band.
Wapi?
This guy was not even supposed to be president.
Like twende hapo kwa jua ashakuwa twende hapo kwa kuban. Ameband wapi?
So, you see, personally, I'm not surprised by the performance of William Ruto. He's lived up to my expectations because I did not expect anything good coming from him. When he was the deputy president, he made it his business to lie to Kenyans all through. For the 10 years he was the deputy president. In the first term, he lied about the stadia, he lied about the laptops, he lied about the major roads they were going to construct, the dams. Nakumbuka Arrow and Kimwarer, pesa ikapotea, katupea story. It's all through. In the second term, he lied about how he and the current president, or the former president, Uhuru Kenyatta, were not seeing eye to eye on how he's better than the president, he could lead better, and how the former president was misruling Kenya, and if given a chance, he would do better. So he's been lying all through, and I saw that from the onset because I knew that William Ruto is a politician, probably the best we have today. See, a politician is not a leader. The business of a politician is to sell hope and to lie, and to convince you with lies and litany and a litany of promises that they will deliver, but they won't. In fact, the pizza boy, the average pizza boy, delivers more than the president.
Well, we're just but starting, Mulamba. Sophie, I'm a band, I'm a deliver.
Of course, I'm a band. That is a no-brainer. But first of all, my name is Sophie Mugura Njihia. I'm an aspiring MCA for Thika Township Ward, and I'm also a strong member of the J25 movement that is in the business of organizing the youth for us to take political power. So he Gava imebant why? Number one, when the current president was campaigning, he had an issue-based manifesto. And top 3 of his manifesto in a nutshell was he will defend the Constitution. Has he defended the Constitution? No. In fact, he said he would obey all court orders. Has he obeyed the orders? No. Has he been killing us? Is that state capture? Yes. That is a total defiance of the Constitution. He also said that he would institutionalize politics. He said that there would be accountability, there would be justice, there would be prosperity. To say the least, are we prosperous as Kenyans today? Absolutely no. And the third thing he said, bottom-up hustler. Hustler, tainuka, target market, mama mboga, mtu wa boda boda. And I want to ask today, has there any person who had a boda boda in 2021 who has bought a new boda boda today? No. So he Gava imebant serious. And I need to say that they were elected on the basis of their promises. They promised us a better life. But today life is even worse. If you just go out here and see the drainage systems of Nairobi, nothing is working. It's a no-brainer. It's not rocket science. So Sisi kama youth being here, we're doing the right thing because the opposition has decided to join the government. Then today, us the Gen Zs, we will be the opposition and we will be the eternal vigilantes to this government. We will not stop and we're not going anywhere.
But let me ask Sophie, wamebant on a number of things that you've mentioned. Yes. Probably, ni nini ulikuwa umesikia kwa manifesto, hata kama huku una support the Kenya Kwanza government, the idea looked like it would work for you. Yenye
absolutely nothing. Because like my colleague has said, Ruto has been a liar from back in the days. If you have been a consistent student of Kenyan politics, you will understand that in 1997, our current president took a loan with a title deed for a road in Nairobi. He's been a liar since the get-go, so I didn't believe anything. But there is one that almost caught me.
Which is?
The one for diapers for mothers for 3 months. Hey, at that time, I was pregnant. So I was like, if this guy wins, I'll have free diapers for 3 months.
Shock on you.
Shock on me.
Well, Mudamba, before we head over to listen to the rest of the panel, just like Stacey has mentioned, is there something that really stood out for you among the very many things that were not kept, but one thing that really caught your attention that you hoped would really work?
Well, when I was naive to believe that the hustler name means, say, the poor people who are trying to make a living, because the true meaning of the hustler, if I could read it quite quick, the hustler means someone who tries to get to business, who tries to make money through unscrupulous means, someone who has no principles, a person who is adept and aggressive at selling illicit deals. In fact, the other word for the hustler is a prostitute. So I was enchanted by the hustler shenanigans back then, that's when the president mentioned the Hustler Fund. So back then I thought the president is referring to us as the proletariat, the poor people who are trying to make a living in this country, and is now bringing a good fund to fund the young people, the women groups, and so on and so on and so on. But when it hit me that this word does not mean what he's trying to project, I knew nothing will come.
Just to take you back to the fund, we've had the establishment of what we now refer to as Hustler Fund.
See, the president promised an interest-free fund, a loan that has no interest. So if you borrow 200 shillings today, you're supposed to reimburse 200 shillings to that fund. That does not happen today. The Hustler Fund has an interest rate of 8%. So generally, from the word go, hiyo ilikuwa ishabanned.
All right. Linda, we are coming to you, but allow me to take you back on a fact that you've mentioned earlier, on an allegation that you made earlier in regards to a title deed that was taken for a road. We should be having a case in court.
Well, are you a Kenyan citizen?
So you cannot substantiate the allegation?
Well,
I can defend her on this because Mwai Kibaki revoked that title deed. It is on record.
And the loan is with the National Bank.
All right, let me take this conversation to Linda's side of the panel. Linda, upande huo wanasemaje? Zile vitu tulitenga, are they feeling the impact? Are they enjoying the benefits?
Your side unajua mnasema tu ni kubans. I don't know whether my side, perhaps everything is all rosy and glittery like Miss K mentioned earlier on. But now allow me to engage some of my panelists right here. Let me begin with you. Can you introduce yourself and tell me what aspects of the manifesto really stood out for you and you had so much faith in it and you feel like it has not been achieved yet?
Okay, so my name is Owen Apollo and I'm a student. For me, the manifesto was, I felt from the beginning, the time he launched it, I felt like it was too ambitious. You know, when you feel, you could almost feel that it was too ambitious. The only guy who almost beat him was Wajakoya at the time. Because of Wajakoya, it was a bit extra ambitious. But for Ruto, you could tell that it was a bit too ambitious. And it was actually sensationalizing the youth and especially the mamambogas, you know.
Is there something that really stood out like, hey,
for me, the thing that stood out was there was a lot of promises of how he would allocate funds for people, you know, and you can see that over time, he has not allocated that much funds, you know, and there's nothing that's actually happening on the ground. Even when he does allocate funds, it just somehow goes into thin air. There's nothing. Like, kila saa anasema tu ametenga. And the only thing we are seeing ametenga is his deputy president.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Kwake ametenga. Allow me to speak to one of the ladies that we have here. Kindly introduce yourself and also what are your concerns, especially when it comes to manifesto? Wo unaona wameband ama wo unaona they're on the right path?
Yes, Luciana Jenga. I'm a youth leader. One, nitasema Gava may deliver. The other one may band. Kenya Gava may deliver. Actually, we are supposed to give this government a certificate and award for delivering lies and fake promises. When I deliver those things kwa doorstep, so we are supposed to kuwapea certificate and award.
Promise gani wewe unaona ijakuwa fulfilled?
Okay, one of the promises walisema watatupea opportunities in the positions of the leaders, our ministers, prime ministers, not prime ministers, the CSs, watapea watu wa young. Wale watu walikuwa nominated juzi, mpaka nilienda nikaangalia hizo numbers, I was like, ama hizi numbers ziko inverted, like, unaona 62, which means basi in 26, ni sasa tuoni vizuri. Unaona, so I was like, hawa ni my youth, ama ni, iyo tuelewi. And then you wonder, mbona wana recycle? Why do you have to recycle someone whereas we have other people huku nje, watu young, energetic, wanaweza fanya hizo vitu? Another thing, the government imeban. Wanatuambia twende tukatafute job abroad. Yani, it's like my mom telling me anatafuta neighbor mwenye amepika the so-called chapo. Anatafuta neighbor mwenye amepika chapo nikakule huko.
Badala ya kufunze kupika chapo.
Yes, imagine. Ama baadaye mwenyewe inge jikoni apike chapo. Ni kule. Why are you sending me kwa neighbor? Why is this government not creating those opportunities huko nje? That is my so I'm a band.
Okay, thank you. One more before we give Miss K to speak as well. Kindly introduce yourself. Wewe unaona wameband ama wako tu sawa, and which area really stood out for you?
Cecil John Monene is my name. Kenyan citizen by birth. So I feel the pain. Gava kitu imedeliver kubwa, labda zile makofi walipiga salasi ya Sunday. Sio ni kitu ingine ya maana.
Kwa manifesto, when you talk about the manifesto, during the campaigns, uliona ni nini ulikuwa unatarajia sana? Ulimvotia?
Mimi sikupiga kura, nilikuwa na hesabu.
But
But unajua ina haja nikuje nikwambie kitu nikijua ni uongo. Wewe pia wewe ukae hapo ukifurahia, alafu bado mpaka sasa hivi uko bado unafurahia. So mi point yangu ni wala watu bado mnasema kasongo bado ati miaka zingine 10 bila break. Manzi stop fucking.
But unajua hujasema nini kwa manifesto
kwa manifesto. Jobs, obviously. Ali promise watu jobs. Sahi jobless kwa base zote za jaba. Watu my youths too.
Okay.
It makes sense.
Thank you so much. Miss K on the other side, what are people saying? Niko bands tu hapa.
Nakwambia, we have our own Miss El Chapo in the building. Na amepatia a very nice analogy ya kwenda, kwenda kwa neighbor kuchukua chapo instead ya kufunza na kupika chapo home. I want to hear from Mugambi here. My G. Wewe umesema wewe you will stick to working in Kenya as a msanii. Wewe uendi nje kutafuta job. So as a msanii, have you benefited from the government's manifesto? Jo alikuwa amesema watatenga some kapesa for you guys to empower you in the creative industry.
Yeah, Mugambi Kere is my name. Performing artist through and through. So the thing with hii gavani inawakingi and inakosa kuwaka at the same time.
Kuuma kupuliza.
Bana unauma alafu unatema, alafu unaenda unatafuta tena unauma tena unatema. Because for some of us it works. I'll say, for example, the time that Ababu was CS for our sector, the orange economy, nini, tulikuwa tunasikia the whole story ya Talanta Hela. Through Talanta Hela, people actually got paid for performing for government. We made a song for the youth, a youth song, national youth song at some point with the tulikuwa na National Youth Council. Got paid. It was an actual competition, and then eventually you got to perform a song. Nini got paid. Sawa, makes sense. Ilikuwa a very small fraction of people. We were like, how many youth from around Kenya? Like 6. It made sense at the time. 6, 8. Now, nilikaa chini nikasoma. Eventually afterwards, nikasoma manifesto. There's a point where they're saying, especially because I work in theater, film, all these spaces, and music. There's a point where he said that mainstream, all these cultural institutions like theaters and other than the public, other than private institutions that offer theater and film. Unajua gani ingine apart from Kenya National Theatre, Kenya Cultural Center?
But
think about that.
Did they revamp the Kenya National Theatre for you guys?
You revamp. It was revamped kinda because at the end of the day, msanii akiingia and you have experienced that space once. Ukikaa tena ukuje ukae usikize uko like I don't really see that much. There's not much change difference. Ukitoka hapo ukiangalia the financial commitment at some point while reading through this whole document, 66-page document that had like 10% ama 30% of it as photos, unapata jamaa kuna point imeandikwa financial commitment, especially for the orange economy hapo kwa creatives. Imeandikwa the financial commitment is as proposed for sports. So Mugambi, mimi mwenye ana act nafaa kukufikiria kama msee anaruka viunzi na maji. Acheni kutubeba ufala msee. Because you didn't even think about, let me write, propose, get people who are actually professionals in this atuambie, okay, a financial plan yenye involve artists of this and this caliber ni hivi na hivi na hivi. Unasema tu chukua ya msee anachukua sports anapiganga ball, uwekanishe na msee mwenye ni msanii anakuanga na.
So you feel like your industry is still looked down upon?
Definitely, but also sitakasirika because I thought it's only us until una realize hadi health kitu yenye ni a basic right, a basic thing, a fundamental human thing kama health inalukiwa down upon. Haifanyi. So mi nikienda kuongea about anything to do with theater and film, mtu ananiangalia like ni mbana ubo.
I mean, I'm sick. You just know where act.
Kwani priorities zako ziko wapi? Si wewe act. Ulisema unataka kuact, wewe act. Acha ujinga. Haifanyi wewe unaniambia juu ya kuact.
Right.
And ukisikia and the thing about EPA ni wanachukua so many different things mnaziakanisha pamoja. Unachukua culture, youth, all these creative people mnashikanisha nyote, alafu mnaambia CS wenu ni Murkomen. Mi mwenyewe sijai ataona kwa hizi events. Afadhali Ababu, we used to know him. We used to see him, we used to interact. It made sense. Mi tangu jamaa ekwe post maandamano, mi nakonga like
so kwako wameband.
Asa ameband tu vibaya sana.
Okay, Mugambi. Let me hear from this guy next to me. Yes? Right. Uh-huh.
Wewe kama content creator.
Wow.
I'd love to know. I'm
Wow.
curious.
Mimi kama Mr.
Umesaidika. Content digital space.
Wacha nikwambie. The answer is no. I look for my own job. I am still taxed somehow, but I'm still surviving. I'm on TV, guys. Mama, we made it. Mama, we made it. Ian, I want to hear from you. Umetoka Narok to come and answer the question. Gava inadeliver ama inabant?
Hii Gava ilibant, imebant na itabant tena. Hata ikipatiwa chance ya pili itabant.
Kuni unataka kuwapatia chance ingine? It seems.
Maybe na dream na nikana nimekufa.
Yeah, okay.
Si kama siko hai. So hii Gava, unajua kitu moja mimi nilikuwa nafikiria kila time ya campaign ilikuwa ni nimetenga. And you know figures don't lie. But I come to think about it and I was like, but liars figure out.
Wow.
Buzz. You know, and I was like, I wanted to see something with futuristic thing about Gen Zs, you know, they use about realistic direction of where we are going. But let me tell you the truth. Miss Jiona hichi kama hii. Like, wengi sisi ni wa Kenya lakini sometimes I don't feel proud being a Kenyan.
Why? What is that one thing imekukera sana?
Wizi manze. Kila mtu ni mwizi nchi. Because the devolution ileta corruption to the ground.
Right.
Yani sports kwanza, Ministry of Sports kwenye Mugambi analia. That's a joke. Hiyo sports hiyo docket ifai kuwa na joka. Mwenye ameko sahi anaka more serious by appearance but inside ni joker times 2.
So wewe Gava for sure imeband.
Iliband.
Na itazidi kuband.
Itaband na imeband.
Na itaband.
Itaband kabisa.
Right, Ian from Narok. Let me just hear from our guy here. Hello. Nilikutana na wewe kwa elevator nikakwambia I like your haircut. Very nice. Very ready for Tuesday, very ready for the TV studio. Love it for you. Now, tell us, Gava, according to you, imeband ama inadeliver?
I'll just describe the government using 2 words.
Go on.
Loquacious and asinine.
Naomba tu utueleze kinaga ubaga.
So, in short, what I'm trying to say is they're very talkative and foolish at the same time. Because
please, inua kidogo mic.
Oh.
Right, thank you.
The thing is, when you look at the access to government procurement opportunities, whereby the youths, marginalized groups, and people with disabilities have to get 30% of all government tenders for their businesses. But most of these people are always, what's it called? They have to be exploited, or you need to give a fee to some of these people in the county government so that you can actually have those tenders to carry out your
So you have to
your
know
business.
someone to know.
Yeah, you actually have to know someone. Or it's not knowing, you have to actually pay somebody so that they can actually give you something that is your constitutional right. So for me, I think it's very foolish for the government to be doing these things, because we don't need to tolerate corruption in our economy, because it hurts the citizens.
Right.
Yeah.
Linda, it seems pia side ni kama watu wanasema that we are watu wanaband. Ni kama that's is that the conclusion? Let's see. We're gonna hear this more after the break.
Have you watched K24? We would love to hear from you. Send us your feedback on what you like and what you don't like and why. You can use any platform to reach us. We can be reached on Facebook, Twitter, and WhatsApp.
Yeah, they call me Tony Mwirigi, aka the celebrities host. Kama ni tamu na lama na kama ni chungu na tema, catch me live every Monday to Friday in the morning on interactive show for a fun-filled conversation, trending topics, celebrity interviews, music, and certified gossip. See you.
K24. It's what's on.
Do you think about it? Wameband ama kuna sections zenye unaona they've really performed?
Yeah, student pale KMC. So kwanza mi kenye nanibone hii gavani kuwa na kitu tunataka kufanya kitu tunaanza kwenda kwa kesi sijui tuna impeach nani sijui tunataka kufanya nini like to move forward kitu fulani ama jamaa kipatikana kwa makosa scandal you go to the court sijui tunataka kuimpeach mtu ama mtu amepigwa makofi wapi kesi tu za ndogo ndogo za ujinga nyasaidi. Mimi kitu kwa hii manifesto niliona huyu jamaa alikuwa anaongelea na ameband kabisa ni hiyo kuloa standard nini living standards za watu pale home. Mimi tukiwa home like unaangalia mzazi Kenya anafanya mpaka unaogopa kuwa na familia tayari. Like you are young, you have that trauma of just having a family because amefinyiliwa mpaka kwa ukuta ile inafika point unasema ni mimi nataka kuwa na familia ama bado sijafika. So hata sasa hii tukiendelea like mnasema sijui tuendelee kuwapatia time, hakuna mali tutaenda.
Sectors kama gani? Kama ukiona health ama which sector
ndio
inakupea trauma?
Hata health tu, yani like hata ugonjwa inakuogopa, ugonjwa hizi kukujia. Ugonjwa yenyewe because ugonjwa inaogopa usao utaenda kutibiwa aje juu. Hiyo sha na katuni kama imposter NHIF nyetai kufanya. So I think kuna mtu tu anakulia mahali mwenye ameshajiwekea jina huko juu kwa Gava. Naona. So ukikuja pia kwa fuel, hii mafuta. Unajua hii Kenya mafuta ndo kila kitu. Mafuta ikipanda everything goes up. So inafika point inafaa aishukishe hiyo mafuta ndio pia sisi like wananchi tupate hizo vitu at an affordable price. But yeye kila ni unasikia anapunguza na sijui 2 cents kidogo kidogo, ameongeza na 3 cents. So anapunguza na kidogo, akiongeza next time anaongeza at least na moja. Naona.
So umefanya hesabu zao.
So si ati nyinyi mtapiga makofi huko ati amepunguza, but angalia tu vizuri last time fuel ilikuwa sema amepunguza na hiyo 1 cent. Akikuja kuongeza ataongeza na like ana increase, so decrease yake iko chini but increase iko juu, so inaenda kila mali ki affect hiyo tax. Yes.
Hesabu mzuri hiyo. Naona wanacheza mind games. Well, Miss K, yes.
Imedeliver ni zile makofi walipiga Salasia. I don't know. Siko sure why tuko hivi. I want to ask our Miss L Chapo a question. Miss L Chaps, habari?
Mzuri.
You were talking about this Chapo situation when you're referring to the job opportunities maju.
Yes.
Sasa, aren't we complaining sana? Si mmepewa job, si mmesema mna job. Now when you're given a job, you say ata mnaenda tu kuambiwa you walk pets, muoshe watu wazee. Si kazi ni kazi, mchagua jembe, kweli ni mkulima. Really?
Okay, actually, si eti unatuambia tutafute job na tutuma nje. Unataka kubaki Kenya peke yako au nini? Unaona, mbona natutuma nje? I create those opportunities here in Kenya. Hatutaki kwenda huko nje kuanza kusumbana na baridi, sijui kuna ice, kuna those things. Hatutaki, tunataka kukaa nyumbani. East or west, home is the best. Hizo vitu unasema watu unataka kutuma huko nje tukafanya job ya hosi, tengeneza hosi poa hapa Kenya. Wale wanaenda kutafuta job huko India, wale wanaenda hosi huko India wafanywe hizo matibabu hapa Kenya.
But do you really want to be a doctor in Kenya in this time? Wanakuanga kwa streets daily. Sisi heri tu ende huko maju.
And now that's not the problem of madaktari kwa street. Mbona kwa street? It's because the government is denying them what they deserve.
Right.
Do you know how much it costs someone to be a doctor? How many years mtu anakuwa hosi and then unakuja kumlipa pesa kidogo? Just wewe umetoka kwenye umekuja umekuwa elected, umekuwa president, umekuwa MP, pesa yenyewe unapa pesa mingi kuliko mtu mwenye amespend so many years. Do you know how much it costs someone kuona mtu kwa bed, mtu amepata accident unakuja kumfix? Hiyo courage. Hata hiyo president mwenye haizi taka kuona msee. Ataambia kwanza mfix and then leteni muone. So that's the thing. They need to pay our doctors vizuri. They need to take care of our civil servants if they want them to deliver, if they don't want to see them in the street. That's the thing.
And our Miss El Chapo has dropped some serious bars, Linda.
Absolutely. And you know, I was just thinking about the Big Four agenda, which is also inculcated in the manifesto.
Right.
And I'm wondering which ones have they so far achieved better? Because so far, wameband Kags alisema ni 28%. Well, we can hear from Mugambe. Katia, the Big Four agenda. Do you think those Big Four agenda is in our agenda? Are they agendaing?
Agendaing?
Please help me with the mic.
The agenda has never agended in Kenya. Kazi yetu kitu tu tunangangana ni kumsikiza kituambia na leo nimetenga bilioni na kesho nitatenga bilioni. Unakaa tu bro, umetenga sana msee. Umeinsist na kesho kutwa nitatenga. Then you're like, "Wait bro, why are you always tenging for us?" Na sisi tuko hapo mwanzo unatenga tu, at some point watu wenu walikuwa sijui tanga sijui nini. I'm like, "Bro, what is happening?" Because every other time you're saying because Big Four mostly was from the previous regime, which he was a part of. Akakuja akasema hiyo ilikuwa mbaya, mimi nisikizeni. He came in and changed it up, spruced it up, akarusha spice na chapo kiasi hapo, alafu akasema hii sasa bottom up. Bottom up ya nani?
but Mugambi, I'm just curious. Amongst the things that are included in the manifesto, is there one that really stood out for you and you're like, I like this one, I hope it works?
Honestly, there was especially because he had sections. Kulikuwa na film. In the film one, he said kunafaa kuwa na an allocation for money by the government to at least create a film, to fund and give equipment to film or lease out film equipment to most of these production houses out here. Now, well, not production houses, like production companies. When you see we work for and get films made out and all these things that people end up seeing. And then I'm thinking, that's a very beautiful thing. That's a very good idea, but do you natoka happy? Oh, financial commitment. See as sports. I'm like, bro, unadu? Well, nilikuwa nimekach.
Linda, our guy here really has something to say from Narok. Ian, let me have that. Yes.
You know, in Kenya, the biggest resource we have is human resource.
Right.
Now, this government, what they thought first was take these intelligent people, send them abroad, and then they bring them money here. Now, instead of that, do you know right now people are they're dying abroad, like Kenyans. They're losing the young ones every day. Do you know that?
Is this factual?
Yeah, check it out. I was checking other parents, they were complaining. They lost like 3 kids.
From what?
I don't know. In a country, just disappearance, found dead. Disappearance, found dead. So, apart from being abducted, abroad, even here, you have no chance. The biggest sin, I think, me as a person ever committed is being young. Because najua natatoka hapa nje sasa nipotee. Siko sure kama nikitoka hapa nje nitakuwa niko sawa. I'm not sure. Now, coming to Machapo, do you think like we have pathological leaders? Like we have sick people in this country. Sick people. Mtu anakudanganya kuangalia kwa macho. My friend mrembo anakuangalia hivi. Nitatoa ng'ombe 6 nikuoe. Na mimi naishi nyumba mabati, my friend. Ina make sense?
It does not make sense for sure.
Ile kitu amedeliver wengi ni maskini bado wanaendelea kudeliver. Kujifungua after. So hii serikali ningekuwa na uwezo mimi saa hii ningefuta kila mtu kazi wote. Kila mtu wananchi wajitawale tu peke yao.
That would be your solution.
Of course. Hakuna kitu tunafanya.
Without a leader. Isn't that lawlessness?
No.
We need the, you know?
Wananchi wanafikiria kuliko serikali. Tunafanya nini hasa?
Right. And we will come to the solutions in a minute, right, Linda?
Yes. You know, I was just wondering, but what are your recommendations, though? Now that this particular manifesto isn't working, then we're just wondering, what are the solutions? What are the recommendations? Perhaps before we move to the next section, what would be your recommendation without saying that tukue leaderless?
Cross-generational leaders. Percent kubwa that we have in this regime, watu ni wazee wote, yani ni marehemu watarajiwa wote. Si ni ukweli? Unazeeka uende wapi kwa mdogo? Si ni ukweli? Yeah. Angalia the most performing MPs. Peter Selassie, young. Ndidi Nyoro, young. Babo Wino, young. Dides Baraza, young. The rest, wazee.
But what are you driving at? What is your recommendation?
We have thinkers, custodians of thinkers of this Kenya. Ni sisi, you see us here. Mimi ukinipatia hii Nairobi saa hii, ni vile mwezi nipatia, lakini nikipatiwa.
Well, unajikampainia.
No.
You've not answered me, but well, we'll just move to the next segment. Ms. K, what do you think?
I feel like we should get back to Kagina. Amenyamaza sana uko na our lovely panelists.
Indeed, I think we have clearly identified the issues that we have, the frustrations. Watu wameongea. Kuna wengine karibu iwatoke, kuna wale imewatoka. But the question I'd have for starting from Mulamba, what solutions do you propose to fix the current problem, the frustrations that we've seen among the youths who've spoken here on Gen Z?
That is the only sound solution. Ruto must go does not represent the president alone. It represents the presidency and the whole political battalion. They are so bad.
Looking at our current laws, there's no room for people waking up and deciding must go. Technically, there are provisions for that with the law. Yeah. So other than that, do we have other solutions, practical ones that we can start implementing, that those in office can start implementing today, even as we look forward to the next regime, or rather the next time we are going to be voting for a new leader?
I believe we need to have a constitutional review. Frankly, the president of this country has too much appointive powers. There should be a commission for appointments, because tell me, how are we going to win the 2027 elections with an IBC chairperson appointed by the president? How are we going to trust the judiciary, which is still appointed, the head of judiciary is still appointed by the president? How are we going to trust the Attorney General to, tell our business to the president and advise the president properly, and is still an appointee of the president? Usually, almost all appointees are gagged. They just have to do the bidding of the president. I think we need to have a constitutional review. We need to have whatever the Kuro Court was proposing, a constitutional amendment bill or something. A popular initiative, for a fact, raised by the people, funded by the people, and campaigned for by the people. See, the BBI initiative wasn't so bad, save for the leadership position staff, the prime minister and staff. The other stuff in the BBI was nice. But the BBI was shot down by the courts because it was not a popular initiative. It was an initiative, that was incepted by the president at the time and, the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga. We need that. We need to have the right checks and balances in the Constitution, because the Constitution is a progressive document. It is amended from time to time to give way to, more vibrant ideas. I also know for a fact that we need better leaders, not the current crop that we have. And that's why we are pushing the young people to come out as boldly as they have today, to tell the current crop of leaders that enough is enough. We are tired of you, and we can do the job better than you. It is about time we also start speaking of the possibility of pushing our MPs to do the right thing. I mean, the recall process should be activated, because it's only the MPs who can impeach the president. If we are to survive with another president, if you are to get another president before 2027, the easiest way to get that new president will be through parliament. See, the same pressure we put to the MPs, and they rejected the finance bill well after we rejected it first, and they dropped it down. That is the same pressure we can put to our MPs to impeach the president constitutionally.
All right, Sophie, in terms of solutions, what do you have to say? What can be fixed to put this country in the right direction in terms of delivering what we have?
Okay, first of all, to go back a little bit, I'd like to say that what we're doing here is part of the solution. As a Christian, I'm an Anglican, we see that the church is taking front stage in telling the government that what you're doing, especially to your citizenry, it is not right. And I will refer to a verse in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 3, verse 18. It says that if you see a righteous man doing something wrong, and you don't call them out, the day they die, their blood and the wickedness will turn to you. So me, as a Christian girl, I'm taking up my role to tell this government that what you're doing is wrong. What you're doing is wrong because, number one, you're killing us, you're suppressing us, even when the Constitution has given us right to stand up and say, this is not what should be done. So solutions, number one, would be, we have been told many times that we're leaderless, we're partyless, but what we are doing as the youth is organizing to take political power. We have heard of the J25 movement, of which I am a part of, and we're trying to mobilize every single aspirant all around Kenya who is a young person. We come together, we develop correlation of manifestos that if in the ward level something happens, then it affects the constituency level, it affects the county, and generally it affects the country. Another thing would be having the judiciary be the only. We see Parliament has been captured. We see Senate has been captured. We see the executive is really not pro-people. So the only institution of government that is left to assist us is the judiciary. What is the judiciary then doing to oversight the government? Then there is also the issue of oversight. We see the controller of budget, we see the auditor general giving the facts of how public funds are being used. So what do we do with that information? As Kenyans, we're so complacent, we don't follow up on what happens to your taxes. We saw the road levy being increased from a whole 18% to 25%. But what is the state of the roads today? They're still in a pathetic state. We also see that justice has to be served, most especially to those who have lost their lives when they were exercising their constitutional rights. Today is the 25th of March, and that marks 9 months since we lost young people in the streets on 25th of June. How many people have been held accountable? How many families have received justice? We still have people missing today. So a lot has to be done. And it has to start with the people who we have put in government, saying enough is enough. The people come first, and we have to do what is right as per the people.
Well, all right. We have indeed heard what the recommendations have been put out there. For me, talking to the government, the president recently said, hawatampatia shetani nafasi. In that spirit, there's a verse here in Numbers 23:19 that says, God is not man that he should lie. Alafu inaendelea inasema, not a human being that he should change his mind. Does he speak and then not act? And then later, in the New Testament, there's where it says that, you know, Jesus is not man that he should lie, a father, to tell you that he will give you fish and give you a toad. So my challenge to the government would be, in the spirit of not giving the devil a chance, the father of all lies, how about we embark on implementing what we have promised to the Kenyan citizens? And that doesn't have to be 100% on the issues that have not been touched. Starting and initiating them would really make a difference. Linda.
Well, you know, with the spirit of reading the Bible, there are many verses that really speak about leadership. I'll not speak about mine, but it was close to Matthew 20:25. I want everyone to go read that. It's about leadership, and it's about this distribution of chapo and mismanagement of all these resources. But Kagina, have you noticed that there are more hits, there are more misses than hits? And also, there are very few gains. Actually, your rating of 28 was quite high, because judging from what these panelists have talked about, there are more issues than solutions, right? So this is a conversation that we should still have, because we need to take stock of how the government is performing. This is midterm. We still need to take stock after some time, because this conversation must be held. My name is Linda Koskei. See you again next Tuesday for yet another exciting episode of Gen Z Manifesto.
Thank you so much, Linda. Now, let's conclude the show. You see, the irony of it all is that the president launched the Youth Agenda Charter at Nyayo Stadium in June 2022, just before he got to office. The youth embraced him, voted for him, the hustler. He seemed to understand our struggles. Fast forward 2.5 years later, the same youth at Nyayo Stadium, same place, last weekend, chanted and shouted, Ruto must go. Rais, ni kama kuna makosa imefanyika mahali, and we are not fighting you, nor your political besties and frenemies. We simply want accountability and follow-ups on your promises. And just to quote the Bible, as this is the language you seem to prefer, Numbers 30 verse 2 says, if a man makes a vow to the Lord or swears an oath to bind himself by a pledge, he shall not break his word. He shall do according to all that proceeds out of his mouth. And let the congregation say, Amen. My name is Miss Kahiro, and this has been the Gen Z Manifesto. See you next Tuesday, same time, same place. Good night. Right.
Thank you so much.
Once upon a time, one day in August